Let me start by asking you a question, right here, right now. Look inside yourself. Who are you when no one is watching? Not the version of you that posts, smiles, or performs for the world. I mean the real you, the one who feels fear, doubt, and hesitation. That quiet voice in the back of your mind telling you to wait, telling you that tomorrow is safer than today, telling you that you're just not enough. Now hold that thought, because that voice is your greatest opponent. And it's time you understand the war you've been fighting your entire life. It's not out there. It's not with circumstances, people, or luck. No, the fiercest battlefield you will ever step onto is the one inside your own mind. This is the story of you versus you. The war between who you are today and who you could become if you dared to fight for it. Right now, somewhere deep inside you, there exists a version of yourself that is frustrated, restless, and quietly unsatisfied. Maybe it's that part of you that wakes up in the morning and feels heavy, burdened by routines that drain your energy and habits that chain your potential. Perhaps it's the part of you that endlessly scrolls on a screen, telling itself, just 5 more minutes, only to find that hours have passed and nothing meaningful has been accomplished. That version of you whispers words of limitation, convincing you that change is impossible, that growth is dangerous, that the life you dream of is reserved for someone else, someone braver, smarter, more deserving. That version of you believes comfort is safety, that fear is a shield, and that procrastination is a polite companion, offering sweet promises of later, tomorrow, next week. But there is another version of you, a version that sits quietly, patiently, waiting for the moment you choose to listen. This is the version of you that is bold, courageous, and untouchable by doubt. This version doesn't see limits, it sees possibilities. It doesn't see obstacles, it sees challenges to overcome. It doesn't make excuses, it creates solutions. It's the version of you that wakes up early with a fire in your chest, that refuses to settle for mediocrity, that looks at the world and sees not a ceiling, but a horizon. And the tension, the battle, exists precisely in the gap between these two selves. The present you, comfortable yet limited, and the potential you, courageous yet unformed. That gap is your battlefield, and it is where the war for your life is fought. This battle is not loud, not dramatic, and not easy to identify. It doesn't always come in the form of obvious adversity. Often, it is quiet. It shows up in the small, almost invisible choices you make every day. The decision to hit snooze instead of rising with purpose. The hours lost to distraction instead of creation. The compromises you allow yourself because they feel safe in the moment. These small concessions may seem harmless, but over months and years, they accumulate. And suddenly you find yourself far from the dreams you once believed in, trapped by inertia, wondering where the time went. That quiet resistance, the voice inside insisting that you stay small, stay safe, stay unchanged, is your most formidable adversary. And the truth is, defeating it is the most important challenge you will ever face. Every other battle in life pales in comparison to this one. Fear is the most cunning of all enemies in this internal war. Fear wears many masks. Sometimes it shows up as fear of failure, whispering that you are not good enough to succeed. Sometimes it shows up as fear of judgment, convincing you to hide your talents so no one can criticize you. Sometimes it takes the form of fear of the unknown, telling you that stepping into new territory is too risky. And fear is clever. It dresses itself in rationality, hiding behind excuses and justifications, pretending it exists to protect you. But here's the truth. Fear is not protection. It is a prison. It is the barrier that keeps you from experiencing your own potential. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. The wind howls around you, the drop is terrifying, and your heart pounds in your chest. The jump seems impossible, yet on the other side lies the life you were meant to live. That cliff is your comfort zone, and fear is the voice urging you to retreat. But growth is never born in comfort. Every step toward your potential requires discomfort. Every leap demands courage. Every act of progress is a confrontation with fear, and a refusal to let it dictate your life. Think of your life as a block of marble. The present self, the self you inhabit today, is the raw stone, unshaped and resistant. The potential self, the self you dream of becoming, is the sculpture hidden within. And like a sculptor chipping away at marble, every choice you make, every act of discipline, every moment you resist procrastination, every instance you silence doubt and act despite fear, that is a strike of the chisel. Some strikes will feel clumsy, some will feel wasted, some will chip away more than you intended. The work is slow, painful, and unglamorous, but every strike brings clarity, definition, and progress. The masterpiece exists already, but it will only emerge if you are willing to endure the labor, the frustration, and the discomfort required to reveal it. Procrastination is another weapon wielded by your present self against your potential, but understand this. Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear masquerading as avoidance. It is the mind's attempt to protect you from the very challenge that will define your life. It whispers, "The timing isn't right, you're not ready, wait a little longer, and it will be easier tomorrow." But here is the merciless truth. Tomorrow is a trap. Tomorrow is an illusion. The only moment you can seize, the only battlefield you can claim, is now. Your potential is not politely waiting for you. It is waiting for you aggressively. It demands your focus, your courage, your action. Every time you delay, you fight against yourself. Every day you give in to hesitation, you allow the present self to dominate the battle, and you drift further from the person you were capable of becoming. And then there is doubt, that quiet, poisonous whisper that tells you that you are not enough, not capable, not worthy. Doubt is perhaps the most deceptive opponent because it speaks with the voice of reason, often convincing you to pause, retreat, or avoid. But here's the paradox. Doubt is not always an enemy, it is often a signal. Every time doubt arises, it marks the edge of your comfort zone, the frontier of your growth. Every time you feel unqualified, unready, or unworthy, you are standing at the threshold of transformation. The people who move forward are not fearless. They feel the same fear, the same uncertainty, but they act anyway. They step forward even when the mind screams to stay still. And the question that will decide the outcome of this war every single day is simple. Will you let doubt control you, or will you control doubt? Let's take a closer look at the comfort zone, because it is perhaps the most seductive battlefield you will ever encounter. The comfort zone is where the present self loves to dwell. It is safe, it is predictable, it is familiar, and yet, for all its allure, it is barren. It offers the illusion of security, but beneath that surface lies stagnation, the quiet erosion of potential. The comfort zone whispers, "Stay here, this is enough, you don't need more." And it feels good, temporarily. It cushions you from the harsh edges of life, but it also keeps you small, hidden, and incomplete. Every breakthrough, every triumph, every achievement you admire in others, these were born outside the boundaries of comfort. They were forged in the tension between fear and courage, in the friction between struggle and persistence. Think of a seed buried deep in the soil. For weeks, it lies hidden, vulnerable, unseen. It feels the weight of darkness pressing down, the resistance of earth holding it in place, and yet, inside, there is potential. Growth demands that the seed push through the soil, breaking past resistance, darkness, and weight. Every crack in the earth it creates is a small victory. Every stretch upward toward the light is an act of defiance. This is the essence of growth: struggle, resistance, and the refusal to remain buried. Choosing comfort over challenge is choosing to stay beneath the soil, unseen and unfulfilled. Choosing struggle is choosing light, strength, and life itself. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a man who dreamed of writing a book. Every day he sat at his desk staring at the blank page, paralyzed by the fear of imperfection. He told himself he needed the right time, the perfect words, the ideal circumstances. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, months turned into years, and yet the book remained unwritten, a silent testament to the battle he refused to fight. Then, one day, he realized the truth. The battle was never with the blank page. The battle was with himself. With trembling hands, uncertain heart, and a mind full of doubt, he began to write. Imperfectly, inconsistently at first, but steadily. Page by page, chapter by chapter, the book came alive. The man didn't conquer a blank page. He conquered his resistance, his fear, and his hesitation. He won the war within himself, and the world received the gift that courage alone had created. Your story is no different. Your masterpiece exists inside you, waiting, hidden behind doubt, fear, and hesitation, but it cannot be born until you confront the enemy within and refuse to yield. Discipline is your weapon in this war. Discipline is the bridge between who you are today and who you want to become tomorrow. And let me be clear, discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is the ability to choose long-term growth over short-term comfort, to prioritize action over avoidance, to honor the commitment you make to yourself even when motivation is fleeting. Discipline is showing up when you don't feel like it, working when the world isn't watching, and continuing when results are invisible. It is the accumulation of small victories, waking up early, focusing deeply, resisting distractions, that compound into monumental transformation. Each disciplined choice is a skirmish won. Each moment you resist procrastination, self-doubt, and comfort is a strike against the version of yourself that wants to remain small. The sum of these acts is the forging of a stronger, braver, and more capable you. Focus is your ally, another weapon you must wield with precision. The mind is a battlefield, and attention is the most powerful tool you possess. Where you direct your focus shapes your reality. Scatter your thoughts, and your efforts are wasted. Concentrate them, and mountains move. Focus is deliberate, relentless, and intentional. It is the difference between a magnifying glass under the sun that does nothing and the same glass concentrated to ignite fire. To win against yourself, you must focus not on what is easy, comfortable, or convenient. You must focus on what matters most for your growth, your future, and your purpose. Every distraction you eliminate, every trivial worry you silence, every unnecessary comparison you discard. These are victories that fortify your potential. Focus is not a luxury, it is the very essence of progress. Resilience is the armor that shields you in this war. Because understand this, winning is never a straight path. The road is littered with setbacks, failures, and mistakes. Resilience is the force that prevents defeat from becoming permanent. It is the refusal to surrender to disappointment, to circumstances, or to the inner voice that whispers, "I can't." When you fall, and you will fall, resilience is the hand that lifts you, the voice that urges you to rise, the courage that sets you back on the path toward who you could be. Every scar, every failure, every painful lesson is a testament to your courage. It is proof that growth is forged in struggle, not comfort, and that every obstacle you overcome strengthens your capacity to thrive. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast canyon, staring at a path that seems impossible. The wind howls, doubt claws at your mind, and fear grips your chest. That canyon is life. That leap is your decision to confront yourself fully, to face the fears, the limitations, and the resistance that have held you back. On the other side of that leap lies the person you could be, stronger, wiser, bolder, and unshakable in their refusal to settle for less. The leap will not be easy, it will not be neat, but it is necessary. Every transformation begins with a leap into uncertainty, a confrontation with fear, and a refusal to allow your present self to dictate the life of your future self. Here is the unspoken truth. No one else can fight this battle for you. Friends, mentors, teachers, they can advise, guide, or inspire, but they cannot step onto your battlefield in your place. Circumstances may present opportunities, but they do not shape your inner strength. The war within, the struggle between who you are and who you can become, is yours alone. Every choice you make, every habit you form, every moment you resist or succumb, these are the battles that determine your outcome. And your victory is not measured by wealth, applause, or recognition. It is measured by courage, by persistence, by the refusal to settle for a life less than what you are capable of achieving. Every day is an opportunity to choose struggle over comfort, courage over hesitation, growth over stagnation, and to move one step closer to the person you were always meant to be. So, what does winning truly look like? Winning is not a trophy, not a title, not the applause of others. Winning is the quiet, unshakable mastery over yourself. It is discipline prevailing over laziness, action prevailing over procrastination, courage prevailing over fear, focus prevailing over distraction, resilience prevailing over defeat. Winning is standing in front of a mirror and seeing not the person who faltered, hesitated, or quit, but the person who fought, persisted, and refused to surrender. Winning is understanding at your core that the only limits that exist are the ones you allow. It is the deep satisfaction of knowing you gave everything to the version of yourself that you are becoming, even when no one else noticed, even when the world doubted, and even when the odds seemed impossible. Winning is silent, internal, and profoundly transformative. And here's the challenge I leave with you today. The war is ongoing. The battle does not end with a single victory. There will always be new fears, new doubts, new comfort zones that beckon with false safety. Every day brings fresh resistance, new excuses, and familiar voices telling you to retreat. But the moment you recognize the enemy within, your hesitation, your fear, your self-imposed boundaries, and commit to the fight, you claim authority over your own destiny. You step off the sidelines of life. You refuse to be a passive participant in your own story. You embrace discomfort as the forge of your strength. You confront resistance with courage, wield discipline as your weapon, focus as your strategy, and resilience as your shield. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and instead create them through action. You stop letting the present self dictate your future and begin following the guidance of your potential self, the self that refuses to settle for less than greatness. Every sunrise is a battlefield. Every choice, every decision, every action is a skirmish between two versions of yourself. With every breath, every heartbeat, every moment, the scales tip either toward fear or toward growth, toward hesitation or toward transformation. And here is the truth that must resonate within your soul. You have always held the power. You have always possessed the choice. You have always carried the capacity to rise above your limitations, to shatter the barriers that bind you, and to claim the life you are always capable of living. So rise. Rise from excuses, from comfort, from doubt. Look yourself squarely in the eyes, acknowledge the fears, habits, and limitations that have held you captive, and confront them with unflinching honesty. Then take action. One step, one choice, one victory at a time. Because the war between who you are and who you can become is the most important war you will ever fight. And when you win, nothing can take that victory from you. Not circumstance, not obstacle, not the voice of doubt. Stand now and declare to yourself that you are ready. Ready to fight, ready to grow, ready to become the person you were always meant to be. This is your moment. This is your battle. This is your victory waiting to be claimed. It begins here. It begins today. And it begins with a simple truth. The only opponent worth defeating is staring back at you in the mirror. You versus you. And today, the war ends in your favor.